Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Teresa's Kitchen. I'm so excited for today's menu. My daughter wanted to have some pepper steak, so here I come to the rescue. Yes, I'm making some pepper steak. So with the pepper steak, I'm also going to be making some fried plantains. And I guess you're saying, where does the fried plantains come in at? Well, you know what? It is what it is. We're going to put it together, and it's going to be absolutely lovely along with some black beans and rice. So that's what's on the menu for tonight. So I'm going to show you some of the ingredients that I will be using in order to create my version of pepper steak. So I have my seasonings already out. I have black pepper, I have the garlic salt, I have ginger, soy sauce, rice vinegar. I also have, which is the sesame oil, and I have complete seasoning. All of that is going to basically go on the meat. I actually went and bought about 2 pounds of ribeye steak. I got it chopped up into strips, so I'm gonna allow it to marinate for at least an hour or so before I actually begin to cook it. For some of you guys who don't know what plantains are, this is what it looks like, very ripe. And when they're ripe like this, you slice them up and you put them in a frying pan. And when you cook them up, they're nice and sweet. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to make it, because again, we're going to have like that savory sweetness going on tonight for dinner. And of course, I got my rice. I got some bell peppers all sliced up along with some red onions. So again, this is our menu for tonight, and I hope you guys enjoy the recipe. So I went ahead and washed off my steak. It's about 2 pounds worth of steak here. So I went ahead and placed it in a bowl. Make sure you try to drain as much water off as possible, because you would like for it to obtain all of the seasoning that's going to be implemented within your steak. So just make sure it's really, really not that much water. So I'm gonna put about a tablespoon and a half of all-purpose seasoner. That's just like the basic seasoning for, seasoning any meat that I like to use. And then all the stuff becomes the extras. So I'm going to season it well, because that's how we like our food, seasoned well. So that's about a tablespoon and a half to two. And then I'm going to add more seasoning, which is a little bit more black pepper. Oh, just to let you know, when I went to Thailand, oh my God, a few years ago, of course, it was so authentic. I had the best, when I say the best pepper steak ever. And it was like a black pepper steak with a nice thick gravy to it. I was like in heaven when I went to Thailand and had some of their wonderful food. I am putting in at least a tablespoon of garlic salt to it, because I'm not adding any salt. All this other stuff have a little bit of salt, and I don't really want to add too much salt. Those are just so far my dry ingredients. So you can pick up a tube of ginger paste from your local grocery store, and this is what I'm going to be putting inside of it, some ginger paste. That's about a nice big hefty tablespoon of ginger paste that I have in there. Um, just a little rice vinegar inside of it, so it can take on some of that Asian style pepper steak that we want in flavoring, along with some sesame oil. You really don't need too much sesame oil. It's kind of strong and potent, so you just only maybe need like a half a like a teaspoon. I'm up here trying to guess. And then when it comes to the soy sauce, I'm gonna at least put 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. Uh-oh, I went a little overboard. Didn't know it was open like that, but it's okay. We're gonna use it anyway. So go ahead and mix it in very well. And then you're just gonna let it sit, so all the seasonings can basically marinate and meld together. And if you feel like you don't have enough seasoning, you can add. The only problem would be is that when you put too much at first, then you cannot take away from it. So this is my meat. I'm just gonna place it to the side, let it marinate for a few hours, and then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna go ahead and begin to cook it, and you will see the ending results. So that's how I was able to season my steak for tonight. And again, when I season it, I'm gonna be sauteing my red and green bell peppers along with my red onions, and that's gonna be all inside of that one dish. So this is the plantain that I was talking about earlier that I will be serving alongside with the pepper steak. When you're getting the sweet plantain, you can basically touch it to see if it's soft to the touch, and then if it's also really, really ripe. Okay, and that way it makes it easier to peel. And this is what it will look like on the inside when you go ahead and open it up. So, how do you open it up? I'm just gonna slice it on each end. And then once I open it up on each end, I can just simply peel it like a regular banana, because that means the skin is more easier to peel off. Some people like the green bananas. I don't like the green ones. I know they're green and they turn this color, but these are the much sweeter ones, and these are the ones that you actually can cook with. You can cook with the green ones as well, but for now, I'm happy with this. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna slice them at an angle. So when I fry them in the pan, I'm not gonna cut them too big because I don't really want them to take all day to just, fry. But basically, that's all you're doing. You got your plantains for the night, and it's enough for at least 2 to 3 people. So that means my daughter and my grandbaby and I will be eating off these 2 plantains tonight. And so as you can see, I basically cut them in an angle, easy to fry. And that's it. In some of my earlier posts, I showed you guys how to make rice. So what I will be having is my rice soaking ahead of time in some water. And then after it's soaked for at least 20 minutes, I'm just going to pour off the starch, and I'm going to rinse it for at least 3 times until the water actually comes clean. Put it on the stove. Let it cook for about 20 minutes with salt and a little oil for taste, and don't touch it. And that's your rice for tonight. And then we're also going to be having black beans. So that's what's on the menu for tonight. So we'll be back once our steak has been marinating. So to my pan, I added some vegetable oil because I'm getting ready to saute the vegetables that I basically chopped up for the pepper steak. So I'm gonna first put in the onions, and I'm gonna place in the bell pepper and let it saute. I'm gonna let it saute for like 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna take it off, and then I'm gonna add the meat to it. And this is for the pepper steak. smiling, hoping that you guys can see what I'm doing because my son bought me a gift for me for cooking. I guess it's this stand or whatever, so you guys can see me better with the lighting. So I hope you guys can see me better. I'm praying. I have a lot of vegetables in this pan, by the way. As you can tell, I love cooking with vegetables. I just think they make the food taste so much better with all of the wonderful fresh ingredients. So I'm going to let that cook down just for a few minutes more. And while I'm allowing that to cook down, I'm going to make like flour and water because that's going to help make the gravy that I'm going to use to make the pepper steak with. So I'm going to use about 2 cups or 3 cups of water. And I'm just going to get some flour, maybe a tablespoon or 2. And I'm going to like stir it in. I know I'm being very special. I put that water in a bigger bowl so I can be able to stir without splashing stuff everywhere. So let me go ahead and get the flour while the vegetables are sauteing. You really don't want to cook your vegetables all the way because, again, you want to be able to still have the peppers, not for them to cook all the way down. So about a good 5 minutes, you take them off, and then you're going to throw the meat in the pan and let the meat begin to saute. Now I do have my pot of rice on, so hopefully it will begin to cook soon. I think this is going to be enough. I'm going to go ahead and place these vegetables. Hope you guys can see how well they are done into this pot to itself. Then I'm just going to throw the meat in with a little bit more oil first to the pan. It's a lot of vegetables. Okay, so I'm just going to add a little bit more oil to the pan, and that way we can go ahead and start working on the meat. And this is canola oil that I'm using, by the way. And this is the meat that I'll be adding to the pan that I had marinated earlier today. It's a lot of meat. So here's the steak. It is like cooking up a storm, so I'm going to go ahead and stir it, and then again I'm going to go ahead in a few moments. I'm going to be adding the flour and water ingredients as the thickener to make the sauce for the pepper steak. So I'm going to go ahead and add the flour, water to it so we can start thickening. Make sure you stir it around. See, it's already started thickening. So I'm just going to add some water to it. Be right back. Just a little bit more flour water so it can be really thick. Stir it around. And you can add some soy sauce to it. If you want a little bite to it, you can add some cayenne pepper, which I'm going to add a little bit of cayenne pepper to it. Just right here. Give it that peppery taste. Just a couple of dashes because cayenne is very spicy. And then I said I was going to add some soy sauce to it. That's about 2 good tablespoons of soy sauce. Stir it in. It's going to turn darker, of course. And depending on how thick you like it, you can add some more water. If not, you can leave it like this. For me, I'll probably just add a little bit more water. And also, if you want like that savory taste to it, you can add a little brown sugar, where it has that real Asian style taste, which I think I'm going to add a little bit of more water to it. This is going to be really thick. Anytime, you can always add, but you can't take away, so that's the problem. You just add a little bit at a time. And I'm going to add like a tablespoon of brown sugar to give it that sweet and savoriness. And then you can throw your vegetables back into it once it's done. So to my pan, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add the plantains. I'm jumping back because this pan gets so hot. I put some canola oil in the pan. So it shouldn't take long for them to cook. It's just basically going to brown on each side. I don't know why I keep jumping. And you can see the plantains that I cut up earlier. So let me make some room. It smells so nice and sweet. So they should cook about 2 or 3 minutes on each side, and then we should have our plantains. I'm getting a napkin ready. Put it on a plate. Fade it up once they're done. So you can start flipping it over. And you can see the golden brownness of the banana on the other side. So that means it's not going to take long to cook. You don't want to burn them. And sometimes they're good even darker anyway, so who am I? You know what, let me get a fork that's easy to maneuver. These bananas, we gonna flip these babies over. See how fast they cooking already? So once you flip them all over, then you can begin to take them out the pan. Once they're all flipped over, just start from where you originally placed the banana in the pan. And I love it when it gets like the ooey gooiness of it and stickiness of it. That means that banana is really sweet. So I'm gonna go ahead and start plating up the bananas. Once I'm done plating, I'm gonna go ahead and show you everything that was made tonight as far as dinner. So, like I said, it doesn't take long to cook. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the pan. And I'll be back while I make the plate. So here are the final product of the pepper steak: black beans, white rice, and fried plantains. So I hope you enjoyed learning how to make pepper steak with me and plantains. So again, if you like what you see, comment, subscribe, and be a customer. Once again, thank you for coming to Teresa's Kitchen, and I hope you enjoy this wonderful menu. Looks yummy.